Yeah. Where were we? Eating gravy on honey badgers?
Never forget that you have the tools to build a life on your own terms. Forget the haters. This is FounderQuest.
So, how have y'all been doing this week? I've been on vacation.
This week has been an interesting week in the Curtis household. So we discovered a water leak in our house in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. So when you say interesting, you're using it in the sort of like British way.
Exactly.
Meaning like terrible.
Exactly.
Because, yeah, like when you're in the middle of a pandemic-induced lockdown, the thing you really want is a water leak.
Exactly. Yes. So that has turned into quite the adventure, again, in the British way. Yeah. Plumber came, found the leak. It was a pipe in the wall. So pro tip, don't put pipes in your walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Then the mitigation crew came and demolished a good chunk of the bathrooms, because actually this wall is the separation between two bathrooms in my house. So 2 bathrooms were affected, not just one. So it's
Ouch.
It's been a week, that's for sure. And it's not over yet.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Do you have any bathrooms left?
No.
Oh no. I was thinking like all I have is 2 bathrooms too. So
yeah. It's been we got 4 people, 2 bathroom. Well, kind of 2 bathrooms now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been interesting.
And
yeah.
You said it's not going to be repaired until what, June?
Well, yeah. So the mitigation guy was telling us that, yeah, we can do the demolition and we can get you basically to a point where, everything is safe, right? We will put some sheeting on the walls, where the holes are and things like that. But we can't actually restore your bathrooms because, we're under the late lockdown right now with COVID.
Yeah.
So
They can only do the essential part.
Exactly. Only the essential parts, not the cosmetic parts, which would be, having an intact wall, right? So maybe I'll send a letter to the governor. I'll make a petition like, please, can I have a contractor come to my house? And,
You're going to be
out with the demonstrators. Do it myself,
Out with the demonstrators in Olympia.
Yeah.
You got a big, like a toilet shaped, like a picket sign or whatever.
Right. With my plunger. Yeah.
I need my vanity.
But I'm happy to say that everyone that has come to my house has, worn protective clothing, has had a mask on. And of course, we have masks on too, because we don't want them to think we're trying to get them sick. So, but so that's been nice. Like, calling them and saying, well, will you please be wearing a mask? And like, oh, of course, that's what we're doing these days. So that's nice.
Nice. Yeah. It's still kind of hit and miss on the masks around here. Like a lot of people are on it and then there's a good number of people who aren't.
Huh. Yeah. It just makes sense to me. Like, I don't know, just kind of in a kind of a common sense kind of way. Like if you have something in front of your face that will trap droplets, that will help keep other people from getting sick in case you're sick. So yeah, that's just a good idea. Let's do that. I don't know.
That's just what the deep state wants you to think, Ben. Y'all are just sheep.
Yeah.
You're sheep. I bet you even go in for that 5G service on your phone. Okay, I'm not gonna.
Speaking of that, did you read the news about AT&T and the 5G this week?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
So
I'm just skipping it and going straight to 6G.
Well, the FCC, I think it was the FCC. I guess it might have been the FTC. But anyway, one of the great federal organizations that we have came down on AT&T for advertising the 5G thing because, like, it's not actually 5G. So you can't actually tell people that it's 5G. Slap on the wrist kind of stuff.
I feel like they've gotten in trouble for that before.
Yeah. Well,
with like LTE and 4G.
Right. The funny part is AT&T is like, okay, we'll take down the advertisements that say 5G, but we're going to still show it on the phone.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, thanks, AT&T. That's great. So we won't lie to you on the billboard. We'll just lie to you on your phone.
Yeah. But you've already bought the phone at that point. So it's not false advertising.
I suppose you're right. Yeah.
It's just false labeling.
Oh, that's some universe level thinking there, Josh.
Yeah.
Well, so today I think we're going to talk about, like, speaking about AT&T, because like when I was on AT&T, they always just like raise prices on me. And so we're talking about pricing, but we're not raising prices on people. So maybe I shouldn't have drawn that comparison. We're actually nothing like AT&T.
I thought you were going to talk about like unlimited plans.
Unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Unlimited with an asterisk.
Yeah.
So I'm out of the loop. Like I've been on vacation this week, which means that like in time of COVID, when I'm locked down with my family and I'm watching the kid half the time, that means I get to take an extra long walk in the morning. Like that's my vacation. So yeah, so I really don't know what's going on with pricing. Have we launched it yet? Like what's the deal? What are we doing?
It's live.
It's live?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I got to go look at it.
Launched it this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go check it out.
Okay. This is going to be it's like an unboxing video.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reveal. Look at that. It's amazing. Oh my gosh.
And if you
look at that. You click on things and it updates the price like live. Like that's some real nice JavaScript there doing that. Or it could be CSS. I don't know because I've been on vacation.
It's mostly CSS.
That's probably
it's a smattering of both.
So this was really Josh's initiative. So I think Josh.
We talked about it. This came out of our quarterly, our first remote quarterly conclave that we talked about a while back. I think like the reason that we initially that we started talking about this was because of COVID and talking about like steps we could take to help our customers out, help potentially stem the tide of like either people not signing up or like increased churn and that sort of thing. As it turns out, I think we're doing a lot better than, we thought. We were kind of worried like there for a little bit for that first month or so. I think everyone was, but for us anyway, it seems like things have kind of evened out and like not a whole lot has changed in the revenue conversion department.
Gotta say, I'm still worried because that's what I do.
Right. We're not resting easily, but
yes, we're definitely feeling better than we were a couple months ago when things were just heading in the downward direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I'm feeling better, but I'm actually also kind of like feeling worse because I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything's terrible. The stock market's doing great though. And yeah, and our metrics are doing fine on our business. And I just don't understand how that's possible. And so like part of me is just like, there's another shoe that's going to drop. Yeah, the shoe's going to drop.
Well, I don't know. For me, like there's an element of that like all the time. Like you don't ever know exactly why things are happening, especially like with economics and stuff. Like it's pretty wild. Like, who knows what's causing what. I don't know.
Like we're getting into like Bitcoin levels of like of not understanding that. Like usually I'm kind of like, well, okay, so the stock market, like companies are doing pretty good. The stock market's up, like, maybe the valuations are ahead of, they're a little bit high because people are being really, betting the future is going to be great. Mm-hmm. But then we've gotten to the future has happened and it wasn't great. And so like, but things are still the same.
It's great for some sectors though. It's still not great for others though. The entire market is not up.
On that note though, so going from a macro level there to down to the micro level, I have a question for you too, because I was listening to Justin Jackson's podcast. I guess it was last week, I want to say. He was talking about how he still, some days, he thinks, this all could go to zero. Like I could wake up tomorrow and transistor.fm could be no more, right? The revenue could be zero and I'm looking for a job. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, I remember having that thought quite a lot,
Yeah.
But then I thought, but I haven't had that thought lately. And I think I've moved past that point where I actually am afraid that the Honeybadger will go to zero. So I wanted to ask the two of you, have you thought about that recently? Like when's the last time you thought you're really worried to wake up in the morning like, this could all end tomorrow?
Yeah, I haven't worried about that in a while. I'm fairly certain that if things did go to zero, it would take us like 10 years or more. So I think that would give us plenty of time to prepare for zero. Like I'm not worried about like a sudden, oh no, like everyone's gone.
It's the rapture happening.
The customer.
I guess we'll get to see like if our customers were like good or bad.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Like, and that's the thing. Like we do lose customers through churn and we replace customers. And the fact that we still replace customers mean that there's still people out there who like us enough to buy Honeybadger. And that means we have a brand and something that people know. And that just doesn't go away like overnight. You don't lose you don't lose your brand. I mean, unless you could destroy your reputation. I don't think any of us are planning on doing anything to like destroy our reputations overnight, though. If that happens,
Right.
like we have other problems. So
I'll let you know when I get back from my big game hunting.
right. Like
Africa.
Yeah, you go like So yeah, like outside of like some like major like reputation incident, like I think that we have something that just doesn't disappear.
Yeah. Like I don't worry about it just dropping to zero. I think, Josh, you're right in that, if there is a decline, it's going to be sort of a slow, steady decline. The thing that I'm worried about now isn't like, it's not the sort of thing where it's like a business ending event. It's just like, I see that like, okay, the Congressional Budget Office or whatever was predicting that like the gross domestic product was going to be like down something like 30 or 40% this year. And It's just like, that's gotta come back and affect us at some point, right? That's gotta affect our customers. And that's gotta put some people, I don't want to jinx our customers, so I'm not going to go there. But, it just seems improbable that we're going to get away scot-free in this scenario.
I'm knocking on wood over here. Like, so far so good.
Yeah. So, I mean, and if that happens, like I wouldn't expect it to go to zero because there's still going to be companies out there. But it's like, the thing I am more concerned about is just kind of an environment which makes it, that sort of puts us into that gradual decline. But I don't think we're there yet.
No.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I guess back to the topic. I remember back in the early days, I guess it was within the first year or so that we launched, we decided, you know what, we need to change the pricing. And we did. But I think, in that time, we were still like, oh, this could all go to zero tomorrow. And we didn't have nearly as many customers and not nearly as much revenue, right? So that was still a valid concern, I think. But I think these days we're a little more apt to do tests like that, to test pricing or do bigger experiments, because we feel a little more confident that whatever we do is probably not going to destroy the entire business within a month.
Right. Yeah. That was part of this change that I think allowed us to move a lot faster on it than, like you said, in the past. Because we did we lowered and raised prices a little bit at the same time. We added to the low end and increased prices on the high end by just a little bit, I think. But my thought was, we can always change prices again. Like we could raise the prices next month. And every month after that, if we wanted to like figure out, where the point is where people will stop paying even, like we could do that. Like we kind of did that with our pricing before, like over time when we started out charging way too little. And then we progressively,
how much did we charge?
I don't remember what.
I think our first plan, like our lowest plan was like $9.
Yep, $9.
Was it $9 a month?
$9. Yeah. For people who care so much about their web applications, they're willing to pay $9 a month to monitor them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we had no idea what we were doing, which is why it was $9, I think. And over the next couple of years, we had several iterations of pricing where we probably didn't go high enough the first iteration. So I'm all for like gradually like experimenting and gradually increasing the prices to see, if we feel like it's not quite right. In this case, we wanted to take the prices. We wanted to offer a lower price plan again, specifically for businesses who might, for whatever reason, be struggling, or maybe new businesses that are starting up that have more limited resources than before. We just wanted to make it more attractive and useful to those businesses. So I think we've done that, and in the future we could raise them again. But I think the thing that really like helps with that for us is that we never change prices on our customers, like our current customers. Like current customers are always grandfathered into old pricing, or whatever the new term for that is that we're using now. And so like when you have that, like we can change prices as much as we want, and it doesn't affect anyone except new people signing up. So that makes it a lot easier, because if we were asking our current customers to upgrade to new pricing, we would never change pricing.
Right. Yeah.
Like I don't think we would ever do it.
Yeah, I mean, no one loves getting that flyer in the mail from Comcast that says, "Oh, by the way, you're now charged $10 more per month.
Right.
Have a nice day."
Yeah.
So we're talking about raising and lowering prices and stuff, but the changes that you guys just rolled out, it's a little bit different than that. Like, yeah, like the prices actually varied a little bit, but it's actually kind of an organizational change, right? Because like previously we had a list of like 4 plans, maybe like small. Wait, what was it? Micro, small, medium, large, or something?
Yeah.
Or small through extra large. We ditched micro at some point.
Yeah, we had ditched micro.
And yeah, so and now we have essentially 2 main plans, team and business, and then each of those 2 plans has different traffic levels, so different numbers of errors that they can send us per month. So what was the impetus for going that route?
I'm not going to take any kind of credit for this like structural change, because basically I just like ripped off all our competitors, because everyone else is doing this now too. And I can see why, because it makes a lot of sense to me. Like when it had been a while since I went and reviewed like what the rest of the market was doing, like for pricing, like for tools like this. And like you said before, it was usually either some kind of mix of like just a flat list of, like a flat list of plans that you could choose, or maybe like, like just a straight metered pricing, like choose your how much traffic you want to send, and there's just one plan. But with this, it's basically there's 2 levels of pricing, and it's usually some kind of combination of like for teams and for businesses. And so I think it makes sense for us because we have like 2 types of customers. And one type of customer is like a team within a business, like a single team within a larger business, or maybe it's like a team, like an agency or something that's just, like 10 people or something. And they want to have error tracking just for their employees. That's a team. And I think like that's one type of customer. And then the other type of customer is like an entire company or business, like a large business that uses Honeybadger. In which case they're going to want like more of the user management features. They want to have like multiple teams, be able to like control access for different groups of people, and get more of the enterprise type features, SSO and all that other stuff that we offer. And so this kind of splits those features on those two plans, and then people can choose how much traffic they want to send on either one. I don't know if I rambled a little bit there, but did I get the gist of it?
Yeah, that was great. I remember you saying that one of the things that made you want to change it this way after looking at our competitors was, we know that people are shopping around when they're looking at services, and it makes sense for us to be directly comparable to our competitors.
People are comparing. Right? They're comparing us, and it really helps if you can compare to some, compare apples to apples, basically. Right.
Yeah, because we actually come out ahead in a lot of those comparisons, but we're making that harder by having plans that were hard to compare.
Right. Yeah. Directly. Yeah. For instance, a lot of people haven't even realized that a while back we started offering a free plan again, and that's because like we had added it, but it was kind of down the page a little bit, and you had to like find it to know it existed. But it's actually like the best free plan. I think it's safe to say it's like the best free plan for an air tracker on the market. I don't know of anything that is more generous than our free plan.
This also reminds me of another bit that Justin mentioned in his podcast recently, talking about choosing a market and choosing your pricing and things like that. And the reality is that you're probably going to have competitors for your business. So people are going to compare you, and you really can't go way too far outside the range of your competitors' pricing, right? You can't come in and say, "Oh, my competitors are priced at around $20 a month, so I'm going to bill mine at $200 a month because I'm awesome," right? Unless you're super, super awesome and you're in a really different kind of category, it's really not going to work. Right? People will be like, "No, I'm just going to go with the $20 option." Yeah. So I think it is if you're just starting something new and you're thinking, well, I want to be making X per month, and what does that look like? A number of customers I have to support, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, you got to look at pricing because people are going to compare your pricing to everyone that's already out there.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I liked about this change is how much we simplified our pricing tiers. Before we had, like I said, like 5 plans or something, and each plan had a bunch of different features. Like each plan kind of built on the plan before it, but each of them also had like a matrix of different things between them. So like each one had like a different error rate that you could send. Each one had a different number of check-ins that you could create, and as well as uptime checks that you could create. So it created like this like really complex like matrix of things to think about when you're trying to choose which plan you wanted. And with this change, it's really just about the errors per month is what we are tiering on now, and as well as the two, are you a team or are you a business? But those two like team and business plans, for all the other things like check-ins and uptime, like those are fixed numbers now. Like everyone gets the same thing basically, which I think makes a lot of sense for us because like our primary, like the thing people are really comparing us on still, I think, is error tracking. I think you probably agree. So the other stuff is really just, it's all gravy.
Well, as far as advertising goes, you just made a great point, like how awesome we are compared to our competitors and our pricing, because not only is our pricing good just for the error monitoring, but you also get uptime monitoring and check-in monitoring for free.
Exactly. It's free, basically.
You should do this deal all day long, right?
Yeah. It's free, and at least until we split them out into separate products or whatever.
Right.
Can we make the new tagline for Honeybadger be like Honeybadger? It's all gravy.
It's all gravy.
Yeah. The rest.
Do Honeybadgers taste good with gravy?
Didn't we?
What? What?
We could probably find out. Like, I don't know. We'd be doing the world a favor. It turns out because Honeybadgers are destructive.
that might be our business sending event if we go trying to find out if Honeybadgers taste good with gravy.
They're killing the bees. You know. Didn't we talk about some sort of like the special sauce, or like add the special sauce or something? Ben wanted to have that.
Right. I really wanted that where instead of the team and business, we just had one thing. And then we had a button you could put on the extra Badger sauce. And that would give you basically the business kind of stuff as well. Right.
That would be kind of basically a UI change. And the reason that I didn't do that, because I mean, like that's totally our style. The reason I didn't do that is because I wanted to actually get pricing like launched this month. And I didn't want to go try to become a designer.
Yeah. Well,
and to be honest, that would kind of hide the business plans behind it. Like you'd have to click a thing to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Petition to rename team and business to mild and spicy.
Mild and spicy. I like it. Yeah. Are you mild or are you spicy? Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing you made that call too, because like I delayed the launch of pricing for so long, by working on so many yak shaving things that it's good that we went with the plain.
I'm not sure that was you. I think that was just pricing delayed the launch of pricing.
Yeah.
Let's just blame Stripe. So Stripe delayed the launch of pricing.
I was a little strategic in this project because this was like, I don't remember if it was assigned to anyone on our like quarterly action plan or whatever, but I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. Like, we'll get this done first. We'll just do it quick and then it'll be done. And we can, have that checked off the list. And so I went and I actually did the like UI work on our sales site and kind of figure out like what the new tier should be, and got it all ready basically to go live for people to purchase it. However, there's a second part to the project, which is doing all the back end stuff to prepare the plans, like for people to actually like get assigned to them in our Rails application. So for that, I went over to Ben and I was like, hey, Ben, do you mind handling the back end side of this while I'm working on the front end? And lucky for me, like it turned out that the back end, it was like the tip of the iceberg type thing. I was like, hey Ben, can you break up this little tiny iceberg? And then he got in there, and it turned out to be like this massive yeah. I think like a month later we've upgraded Stripe, and we have like a new like versioning system for our plans and all kinds of things you did.
Yeah, a lot of refactoring went in there. Yeah, it was one of this total developer, like, yeah, sure, that'll take like 2 days, and it takes 2 months.
And in my defense, I had no idea that was all under there. So I wasn't like literally trying to get you on the hook for all of this. But I do really appreciate you doing that, because I think like it would have taken me a lot longer than it took you, to be honest.
It turned really well, and I'm really happy that I had the chance to go in there and do some of that stuff. Like, we didn't really have to do that. We could have worked around it. We could have launched the pricing faster. But, the engineers in me is like, oh, we can make this nicer. We can make this better for future generations.
Well, we fixed a lot of things that were bugging us about our...
Thinking of the children.
Yeah, thinking of the children.
Yeah.
Paying that debt now.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that programmer thing where you're like, oh, this will take 2 days, and it ends up taking like a month, and that happened so much to me that I sort of like got scared straight about that. It's like, well, now it's like my tendency to say things will take like a month, and then it takes me 2 days, and I'm really embarrassed because I was like, oh, okay, I guess this wasn't as bad as I thought.
Way overestimated.
Yeah. Well, I love totally unrelated, but I love the concept that Basecamp has of the hill charts. There's this ramp up of uncertainty where you have a decreasing uncertainty about what the project or the task involves. And then you get to the top of the hill and you're like, yes, now I fully understand what needs to happen. And now it's just a matter of, getting it done. Like, I know the concepts and I have a plan, and now I just need to execute the plan. And then, you go down the other side of the hill as the task becomes towards completion. And so you can...
The downward slope of merriment.
Exactly. And I like that idea because in every software project, you do have so many unknowns. And even if you think going into it, like you get surprised along the way and you're like, oh, what about this? And I didn't think about that. And the uncertainty definitely is growing initially until it starts to contract and you finally figure out, oh yes, now I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's like, it's already 2 weeks past the deadline date.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of keeps me from starting a lot of projects these days, come to think of it. Like, I'm just like, I know I'm not going to dive into this right now. Like, I need to plan this out.
Well, my favorite contribution, my very minor contribution to the pricing, what you can see on the homepage is the subtitle under the enterprise plan, because this was great. So Josh had put it together and he showed it to us and he's like, what do you think? And it was just slightly unbalanced because the basic plan had this little free subtext and the team and the business had their own little bits, but the enterprise had no little bit underneath it. And so I'm like, you just got to put not free into there. And it was totally a joke, but you did it. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. It's a little, and it's great because it's enterprise. So that's like where you're not supposed to be making, making jokes, right? You're supposed to be like, it's serious business, but not at Honeybadger. There's a price attached to enterprise, I assume, Ben. That's how, honestly, that's more your department anyway. But I don't think I didn't think you were giving it away for free.
Yeah, I just didn't want to put call us on the page because everyone says call us, right? And that's so boring, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But really it is call us.
It's contact us. We should have just used the the money bag emoji. Or whatever.
Oh, there you go. Just have like a picture of Scrooge McDuck on there.
Yeah.
We just have an animated background of Scrooge McDuck diving into his money bin.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So one thing I want to be sure to rant about on this podcast about pricing is the practice of displaying defaulting to annual pricing on your pricing page, but displaying monthly units. So as I was doing my research, it turns out it seems like most of our competitors do this. And then I went and looked, if you look around, especially a lot of I don't know, it's kind of trendy, it seems right now to use this practice where you basically you show it, you go to a pricing page and it's like, oh, cool. That's $26 a month. That's reasonable. But then you find out, oh, well, that's if I pay a year's worth up front, and I don't even know what that is. So I have to multiply 26 by 12, figure out what I'm actually going to have to pay. Or I'm going to have to go find some toggle that says, show me the monthly prices, in which case the price goes up. I don't know about you all, but that's just shady to me.
I think that's officially called a dark pattern.
It's a dark pattern, right? Yeah.
I find it mildly annoying. I don't really...
Yeah, I
never
go
really
back and forth on the dark
shady.
Yeah,
but
I go back and forth on the dark pattern because that's I don't know. I agree. It's kind of it's in between somewhere, but it's shady to me. And
I mean, it's 100% evil.
I don't think it's 100% evil, but I think at the very least it's hostile to your user because you're forcing more work on your user, and it's a little bit of a trick, to be honest. When you go to a website and it says $26 a month. And then you have to realize through searching on the page that it's actually not $26 a month. How is that not tricking them?
That reminds me when you see the price at the gas station and it's $2.65 per gallon. And then in small letters, it's cash.
Right.
And
it's the same, same idea.
Yeah. The credit's $2.75. Yeah. It's 10 cents more per gallon. And,
right.
Yeah.
And it's not, yeah, like you said, it's not like a total, I don't know if I'd call it a dark pattern, but it's like, it's a little sleazy. And do we want to be a gas station? Like, is that like what we're attaining to? Like,
no,
it seems like a dark pattern. Like that seems a little more dramatic. Like when you would like delegate out like a murder or something.
Well, I think like a dark pattern is
it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an intentional trick or
well, okay.
You can, there's the website. You can go look at the website.
I'm just being facetious now. I'm imagining like who was it the Gang of Four who did the patterns book, the original patterns book? Like you have the Gang of Four book, but it's like all the dark versions of all the dark design patterns. You
That'd be awesome.
Well, there is. There's I think it's like
delegation. You've got I don't know. Okay, I'm about to say stuff that I don't want to be on air saying, so I'm just gonna.
I mean, there's if you go to darkpatterns.org and it's kind of like that.
I'm
it's
not
like
going there,
it's
Josh.
a list. It's a list of dark patterns that have been used.
So you know what happens when you look at that website? It steals your soul.
Yeah,
or at least steals your credit card number.
Yeah, but it's seriously though, it's a list of dark patterns. if you want to know what they are,
I trust you.
I know this because I actually thought about I've thought about this a little bit, and I came to the same conclusion. I don't really think it's a dark pattern, but I think it's just tricky. It's just tricking people, and it's not, if we're really all about our customers, like we're not tricking them, and we're trying to make things easier for them. And for me, if I'm going to buy something, like showing me the correct price so I don't have to do math in my head is just that's a no brainer. Like that makes my life easier. So I think there's like maybe like one of our competitors that do it the same way that don't do this, but I'm pretty happy that we are one of the ones that don't try to trick our users into annual pricing.
Yeah, me too.
And
I'm glad we're not growth hackers.
Well, and so the other great thing about this is that, and that's I'm a growth hacker.
Well, we're not
really.
like the bad growth hackers. We're like the white hat growth hackers.
We're white hat growth hackers. So back to the comparison thing, like when if you're comparing like two pricing pages, like I wanted our pricing to be comparable to our competitors, just general tiers, so like people could look at the numbers and get a sense of like what they should be comparing to. But I also didn't want to, because our competitors are displaying the annual pricing. It's like, it's like the low plan is like $26, but it's actually like $29 or something when you switch to the actual monthly pricing. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to show our plan's just going to be $26 a month, but it's actually going to be $26 a month. So we actually are cheaper. We're beating them. I don't know if people are going to actually notice this, because it's hard to tell until you find that annual pricing button or monthly pricing button. But we actually are cheaper on an additional level now. So
we're not cheaper, Josh. We're a greater value.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad that you went with this transparent approach. Like, I feel good about it, as much as I'm like throwing bombs into your your explanation of it.
Yeah, well, I'll die on that hill. It's sleazy.
So how's this working? Like, how's it going? It's too early to know, right?
Too early to tell.
Yeah.
Have we had like any signups yet with it?
Yeah, we have.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, the way that we test pricing is we put it out there, and if the revenue keeps going up, then we're happy.
Yeah, we're not really.
We're not super sophisticated about these kinds of things. We don't do A/B testing on our pricing. If it's out there for a while and the revenue doesn't go up, well, then we just pull the plug on it, right? And we just revert back to our previous generation,
or go to a new one.
Yeah.
It's a little bit difficult, like with all the stuff going on in the economy. Like there's going to be some like extraneous things affecting pricing, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But
the good news is we're patient. Like we don't, insist on having results within a month. Like we can wait a while and we can see how it goes. And
yeah, there's nothing scarier than a patient honey badger.
Yeah.
That's a deadly combo right there. Patient and honey badger.
The one thing we didn't mention is the new free plan. The other big change to the free plan, which I think was Ben's idea, is that it went from 1 user to 3 users, which I think that's the big COVID response thing we did. If anything, I think is like because some other companies, have like created, so I've seen people created like a $1 plan or something, or like done it, like interesting pricing things to like cut people a break or whatever. And we kind of just decided like, let's just make our free plan good enough to get by if you need to, or if you're small and if you're a team of 3 people or less, like you can now use Honeybadger with the collaboration features. And I think it's like 12,000 errors per month, which is, enough for a lot of people. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think it's a really good value. I don't know how long it'll stick around. So if any of our listeners have been on the fence, like, at least go grab your 3 user basic plan. Yeah. Because like I said, we don't move people if we change it in the future. So it's a yours for life type deal.
We have yanked plans in the past. Like one of our tests was yanking micro, back a few years ago. So
yeah. So are we calling it the free for life plan?
So when we yank this bad boy, like these things are going to be valuable in the secondary market.
They'll be on eBay. Yeah. You might, go get 2 or 3 of them. Don't, but it's 1 per customer.
It's not toilet paper.
Supplies are not currently limited, but you should still act now.
People are now stockpiling the free plan, free SaaS plans. That's it's good.
I think we're coming to the end of our time. Have we talked about pricing as much as we want to? Is there anything else we want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to get that rant in, and I'm good now.
That's good. I'm glad you did. Work out the stress. You have been listening to FounderQuest. If you want to review us, please go do that on wherever. And if you want to write for us, go to our blog. There's a link at the top of the page. You go to honeybadger.io, click on the links to our blog, click on the link to write for us, and I'd love to hear from you. All right. So stay safe, guys, and see y'all next week.
FounderQuest is a weekly podcast by the founders of Honeybadger. Zero instrumentation, 360-degree coverage of errors, outages, and service degradations for your web apps. If you have a web app, you need it. Available at honeybadger.io. Want more from the founders? Go to FounderQuestPodcast.com. That's one word. You can access our huge back catalog or sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive VIP content. FounderQuest is available on iTunes, Spotify, and other purveyors of fine podcasts. We'll see you next week.